Well, my friends, I'm here with RaeAnn Knoell. She is the brand strategy director for Omaha Home for Boys. And it's that time of year. RaeAnn, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me.
All right. First of all, the Omaha Home for Boys, I just love this organization and you do so much for so many. So we're going to start there and just tell us a little bit about the organization and who you serve.
So, we have been in the community for over 100 years here at Omaha Home for Boys. And really, the heart of who we serve, Andy, is youth, young adults, and families. So, when youth, young adults, and families come to us, they're often in a time of crisis. So, really, that is our first objective is to help them stabilize. And then, of course, once they're stabilized, they are more able to focus on long-term goals in regards to education, housing, employment, and basic life skills. And really, our end goal is to help these youth, young adults, and families become productive, independent members of our community.
Yeah. Which is I mean it's so important because some people have everything they need for the most part to go out into the world and some don't, and when you're starting from kind of that disadvantage, having what you guys offer them to make their lives the best that it can be, successfully, quality of life, it's just so amazing. Before we get into the holiday season, we were just talking about, you had an event a month or so ago that was kind of a new thing. I just give 30 seconds. How was it?
It was amazing. So, our event this year was called Imagine, and it was an evening just filled with inspiration and action. And it was all about our impact in the community and how everyone in this community helps us achieve that impact. And it was also all about our youth and families. We highlighted them, their stories, and they told us what OHB in this community means to them. And it filled everyone's bucket that was in that room. It was great.
Wow, that's so awesome. Again, yeah, that's just so great. Uh, so let's talk about the holiday season. So you have something coming up, like pretty much immediately. So tell us about what it is. And I think it's Project Christmas Joy. And you've done this for several years?
We have. So we have done Project Christmas Joy for several years. It is our annual drive to collect both needs and gifts for the youth and families in all of our programs. So as you can imagine, like many of our youth and families are really struggling just to make ends meet. And so when the holidays come, it is really a challenge for them to be able to provide any of those special gifts for their little ones, or just to receive a special gift themselves.
Yeah. And so what are the dates? Because there's specific dates for this, right?
Yes. Yep. So the drive is officially running November 28th through December 8th. So it's about a couple weeks there. And it's all taking place online, which is awesome. You don't even have to leave the
That's
comfort of your home or your office.
okay,
um,
wonderful.
Yeah, so we have an Amazon wish list set up. We are also taking online monetary donations, where people can give in support of the drive. Or if you do like to shop locally here at a retailer in Omaha, you can purchase gifts like that and deliver them to us as well. So there is, I guess, an offline option as
Yeah.
but I personally love the Amazon wish list because the items on there are gifts and essentials that our program managers have specifically picked out for youth and kids in their programs. So they're highly requested, highly needed items. And the awesome thing about it too is that we have gifts that are at every single price range. So I love the Amazon wish
Yeah.
list fact.
Well, let me ask you, what are like some of the what are people wanting, or I mean, like there's the needing, but there's also just the just the joy of having a gift. Let's start first. What are some of the needs that people are going to see on this wish list?
So some of the highly needed items are items that I love because they are a need, but they can also make a really neat gift. So some of those things are like stocking hats, gloves, comfy blankets, comfy pajamas, bedding, just kind of those things that are, like I said, a need, but they also make a really neat gift, which it kind of doubles that way, which I love.
Yeah. And are there so we're looking at ages, and I know when people go online, and we'll talk about the website and everything, but just for the purposes of this conversation, what are the ages that we have the opportunity? Are we finding a family, or are we just finding like, hey, I got $100 to spend. I'm going to go online and purchase something.
Right. The way I like to describe it is if you think about the young adult that's in your life, that's maybe 17 to about 24, that's really the heart of who we serve. So those older teenagers and young adults is a big majority of who we serve. So think about those young people in your life and what they might like for Christmas. Our young adults love those same things too. And also, some of those young adults are parents themselves. So they have children of their own. And usually that age range is newborn to about 5 years old. So again, if you think of the little ones in your life and what they're asking for Christmas, be the perfect fit for our young parents and their kids too.
So I'm glancing over this way because I am on your website, ohb.org.
Mhm.
And I mean, the first thing that pops up is this beautiful Christmas photo, holiday photo. So people can go here, and then that's where they start the journey of getting, can you start doing it now, or do we need to wait until the 28th? And that's
You
I guess
don't have to wait until the 28th. Anyone
okay.
else can be the first one to kind of kick off our giving. We have everything all ready and set up. So it's ready to go, ready to shop and ready to get those gifts and needs into the hands of our youth and young adults.
About how many people are you serving through this particular program?
We will have about 150 young adults and children celebrating the holidays with us.
Okay.
Each program celebrates a little bit differently, but the program staff just tries so hard to make Christmas special for them.
Yeah.
And honestly, often it is usually the only Christmas celebration they have. So just having those special gifts under the tree from everyone is, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's just
No,
amazing.
no, and I can actually just like feel it. But again, when you're talking about um youth and young adults, that the holiday season is a special time of year. It's also a very stressful time of year. It's so funny how it can have like this joy and the stress that there's like they're two opposite sides of a coin.
Yeah.
Um, and this is just something that makes them um just it feels special, or it's just so fun opening up a gift. And I want to ask you, so what remarks have you heard from the past? I'm curious about that.
It varies year to year, but there's just always this common theme I feel like that rings true year to year, and it's just that gratitude. It's that gratitude and that thankfulness and just that almost disbelief that somebody they don't even know took the time to send them this special gift that they may not have had otherwise. And it's maybe something that they need anyway. That's really what it is. It's the thankfulness and the gratitude that is just year after year what we
Yeah,
hear.
yeah, absolutely. All right. So again, your website is ohb.org. Um, Anything else before we've got about maybe a minute or less? Probably less. Anything else you want to say before I let you go and let people go start shopping?
We're just so appreciative of everyone that can go out there and send a gift, whether that's a $5 gift we have on our list or a bigger ticket item. Every single gift helps, and it just truly does spread joy. And we're just so thankful for that.
Well, RaeAnn, thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for what you do for the community, Omaha Boys, what they do for the community. Truly, we are so blessed in our community for organizations like this. I'm grateful that I can help. That's just one of the things I think we all want to do is just help over the holiday season and 365 a year. So, all right. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you, Andy.
You are welcome. And folks, don't go away. We'll be right back. Well, hello, my friends. It's that time of year, and I'm so excited to be here with Erika Overturff. She is the artistic director and CEO of America Midwest Ballet, and we're going to be talking about kind of one of my most favorite performances that goes back to a little girl. Erika, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right, we have the Nutcracker coming up soon, but let's before we go into the Nutcracker, American Midwest Ballet, tell us just a little bit about their organization for those who may not know who you are.
Yes, we are the region's professional dance company. And so we have three main components to our mission. Of course, inspiring people through professional dance performances, but also education and enriching community engagement.
Yeah, you've done so much. And so what year are we into? This is your
This is our 14th
okay.
season.
I was actually going
Yeah.
to say 14. So next year you've got kind of a milestone season coming along. So the 14th season, and the Nutcracker is the second um, performance that you have of the year. The first one I know was Momentum a couple months ago or a month ago. And but I know there's some new things. You always switch things up a little bit. So let's talk about the Nutcracker and how's it going?
It's going great. We are actually busy in the theater, rehearsing, putting the finishing touches on it. But it's a really fun time because that's when we get to see everything come together and all of that hard work and planning kind of come together. Because the really rewarding part is, of course, getting to share it with audiences.
Yeah. And I mean, I know we always record. I don't typically say this when we're recording, but I mean, we record before this airs. We're just a little bit less than a week before it airs. But you are right in the middle of the rehearsals. When do you start rehearsals for this? Take me to I want to know the process of like auditions and rehearsals, because I think that's always fascinating, especially for people who go see the performance and kind of understand the backside of it.
Oh, sure. We actually auditioned the students for their roles in the summer. So this year it was right at the end of July, I believe. It's usually July or sometimes early August. But we cast them in their roles. We try to do their costume fittings and get all of that underway because it is a huge production with hundreds of costumes. And when I say a costume, well, each costume has multiple parts. You've got a costume, you might have special boots, a headpiece, accessories, and so it's just a lot to organize. So that starts in the summer, and then the student cast starts rehearsing in the fall, usually I think around late September, and then the company. This year, it just varies year to year depending on the rest of our schedule. But this year, we started a little bit later. We pretty much waited until after Momentum was over, which what that was Momentum was in mid-October. So we put it together a little more quickly this year. However, I did create a new scene this year, and that one I did start earlier this fall. So
Yeah.
uh,
Well, we're
yeah.
going to talk about that in a moment, but I do want to ask you again, kind of like a logistical question. So when you start to rehearse, you're obviously you're not in full costume. You rehearse and then you or are you in full costume?
Yeah, we're not. We're just in our rehearsal attire. So the professional dancers, we have 25 in the company, and they work during the day. We have class in the morning to warm up and kind of keep our technique clean and strong, and then we rehearse for the rest of the work day. And so we are in our rehearsal attire, so it's like leotards and tights and things like that.
And then when do you get to the place where you do where you start to get the costumes and get the pieces? And because
Yeah.
that
Well, sometimes.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, just from being dancer when I was much, much younger, is that when you have a costume on, I mean, there's things that, it's not like just being in a leotard and a top. So I just find it fascinating.
Exactly. We kind of just try to like layer all of the things, because if you add them all at once, it would be too much, too
Yeah.
overwhelming. So first, we just start in our rehearsal attire. We just focus on the choreography, but also kind of right hand in hand with that, we focus on quality right from the start. So you don't first dance, 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 and then the last week add on, your facial expression, your smiles. That's a part of it the whole time. But in the studio, we do also add on some elements. For instance, the ballerinas that might have a pas de deux with a classical tutu, they will wear a practice tutu in rehearsals so that their partner can start to practice finding their balance and making sure they're on balance without being able to see their leg. It's
Right.
really like a feel, because all they can see is that tutu, and that can throw things off if you were to add that element too late. Also, another one of our pas de deux in the Nutcracker has a big crown and a long wig. We have lots of big headpieces. So if there's a particular dance where the headpiece adds another layer, or Drosselmeyer has a cape, and like that we can get some work or props in the studio ahead of time. We try to work with those things ahead of time. And then we have found that once we're into theater rehearsals, the first day that we're there, we kind of do staging and spacing. So we don't try to add all of the technical elements, the costumes and everything, but we get the lights on, we're doing it in the space. And then, we just keep layering, then we add the costume, and so kind of ish one new element a day until we've got, when we're in the theater, until we've kind of got everything in place. And then we have a few rehearsals, and it's amazing. I have to tell you, I have been doing this a while, and it goes from looking like to pretty great in just a matter of days, because the dancers will be looking great. And then once we add in all the tech elements, the costumes, the lighting, all of those things, it's just so many things to coordinate. And it's a lot more for everybody to do and to handle. So, but it's amazing how it can go from just looking like kind of wild to looking really polished in a short amount of time at the end.
Yeah. And the reason I asked that question just for this particular performances, but I know everyone is different and you've had other performances with beautiful costumes, but I just know all the different layers. And I thought it's just interesting to kind of know the process, because when you are there watching the actual performance, and you kind of like, just in my head, kind of go back, wow, this at one point people were just getting together on the stage for the very first time. And then it leads up to, like you said, this beautiful, amazing performance that is polished and kind of seamless. So yeah. So well, thank you for taking us through that. Let's talk about there's a new dance, like you mentioned. So what is it?
Yes, so I created a new gingerbread dance, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a scene that previously we had done the North Pole, which was fun too. Of course, Santa and the elves are in the North Pole. And so we had performed that version for a number of years. But I had always had in my head that at some point it would be fun to make a version with dancing gingerbread cookies. So that's what we've done this year. And always in the studio, one of my favorite things is that process of creating something new on the dancers. And even so, there are two company dancers that are the soloists. They dance individually and also together in some lifts and turns. But of course, they have a house full of little cookie children. But I did choreograph the cookie dance on other professional dancers, keeping in mind that it was student dancers that would be performing it. But I knew we had a really strong group of students. And then I thought, if I need to, I'll adapt it to their level. But I kind of just wanted to choreograph it, as I envisioned. And then I tell you, the students have just done a phenomenal job. I didn't have to really change anything. They were able to execute all of those ideas. And of course, they're adorable because they're kids.
Right.
So it's really been coming together well.
And that has to be so, like, when it comes to the music for this dance, are you creating new music? Are you creating everything new? Or is this is this part of the Nutcracker that then you're just adapting a different choreography costume?
Exactly. It's an existing part of Nutcracker. And so this section is known as Mother Ginger oftentimes, and there are different interpretations of it. As I mentioned, ours was previously, Santa Claus, the North Pole with elves, but sometimes there's a big Mother Ginger that little
Right.
polichinelles come out from under the skirt. So that's the neat thing about Nutcracker. There is that wonderful score by Tchaikovsky, and the music is fabulous. But there's lots of different ways that you can go with it and interpret it. And so it's been interesting, even in creating this new section, even though I have heard the music hundreds, but probably thousands of
Right.
times.
Right.
When I was thinking of it for a new dance, then I can hear different things in the music, to
Yeah.
highlight and kind of tell the story. And so it's just it's a cute little dance, but each of these dances is really a wonderful way to showcase the talent of our professional dancers along with the students. But they're short, they're entertaining, they're full of energy, and I think that's one of the things that makes Nutcracker so appealing to people is they get to see uh, so many dancers, so many little interesting different things, and so it's a lot of fun for the dancers and the audience.
Yeah. And I think too, it's almost like a new adventure when you add some different choreography or some different costumes for the audience members, especially that it's a new adventure each year. If there's just like a little piece that you're switching up. And I think it's a tradition for so many families to go to. But that's just always fun. So let's talk about I want to ask you a question for someone who hasn't seen the Nutcracker, which is crazy to think that people haven't, but I actually believe there's probably a lot of people that haven't seen it, at least also in person. Um, what should they look for?
Well, I think that Nutcracker, I mean, it really centers around the story of a young girl, and
Mhm.
it kind of follows her imagination, and you're unsure, like, is this real? Is it a dream? Is it a nightmare? But she gets to travel all of these places, these exciting things happen, and it really gives you that feeling of the wonder of childhood where anything is possible. So I think that's something, a really draw of this story that resonates with people and families, kind of takes you back to that, reminds you of that feeling.
Yeah,
And then also, as I mentioned, the music is just so iconic. And it all, it really flows together, but there's so many different unique um, elements that are recognizable and beautiful and rousing. And so, the music is another element of the Nutcracker that is something very special.
well, let's get down to kind of the when, the where, the um and tickets and all that good stuff before I let you go. Um and I have one final question before I do let you go. But
Yes.
so where can we find out about it? How do we buy tickets? What are the dates? I'll let you take.
Great. This time I just pulled out my calendar so that I don't misspeak. But our first performances are November 18th and 19th at the Hoff
Right.
Family Arts and Culture Center. So this might be airing after those dates, but I will mention that the performance on the 19th is a sensory friendly performance. We do it in partnership with Autism Action Partnership. And we've made some special adaptations to that show to make it inclusive and accessible for people on the autism spectrum and their families.
Yeah,
And then we have on December 9th and 10th, we have our public performances once again at the Orpheum Theater. And we have, so for all of our weekends of shows, we have two shows on Saturday and then one on Sunday. And of course, we do so we don't get too rested. We make sure to perform for thousands of school children in the
Yes.
meantime, as well at the Orpheum Theater. So we do 3 special student matinees. So it's a lot of performances. It's one of the ways that we reach the most people in the community during the year. And so it's a really special time for us.
Yeah. All right. So last question. What's one of your personal favorite things about the production?
Well, one of my favorite scenes is the snow scene. And this year we have been even tweaking our weather elements a little bit more.
Okay.
We've
Yeah.
been, for one thing, this is sort of behind the scenes stuff, but it's important to me. We've been, over the years, investing in owning and purchasing, custom elements of the backdrops that maybe originally we were renting everything.
Yeah.
And so now we own our whole snow scene, and it's a beautiful design. And we've been really working on our fog machine, our falling snow, and all of those elements. And it's really coming together. I mean, it's always been a beautiful scene, but it's really exciting to
Yeah.
see that one come together. And it's just such a nice moment in the show. Another thing about that scene is this year we were able to add back in our North Wind chorus. We've had it in the past, but some years we just haven't had enough people to make that scene work that could also sing. But this year we have a wonderful group of young singers, and that really adds a special touch to that scene too. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one this year.
Yeah. And again, I personally love the backstory of kind of what it takes and what you do, and like you said, what you're investing in to make it even better. So thank you for sharing that information with us today. And again, December 9th and 10th, this will air after this week, we're listening this weekend. This will air on the 21st. But yeah, encourage everybody to buy tickets. amballet.org. This is an incredible performance. So Erika, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. It was really fun to see you and get to talk about the Nutcracker.
Yeah.